The man who watched them laugh. I used to believe revenge was beneath me, that people who sought it were just prolonging their pain. That changed the night I watched the people I trusted most destroy everything I'd built and laugh about it. My name is Daniel Hayes, 38, once co-owner of a small but rising construction firm called Hayes and Creed Developments. We started from nothing, me and my partner, Marcus Creed, two dreamers, building homes for people who wanted a fresh start. We worked side by side for 12 years. Through rain, concrete dust, late-night blueprints, he was my brother in every way that mattered. And then came Ava, the woman who turned both our worlds upside down. Ava wasn't the type you forget easily. She was beautiful, sure, but not the loud kind of beauty that asked for attention. She had this quiet confidence, like she could walk into a room and make you feel like you'd known her forever. She came in as an interior consultant on one of our luxury home projects. I still remember the first day she walked into the site, wearing that white blouse that somehow stayed spotless, despite the chaos of construction. Marcus was the first to make a joke. "You don't look like you belong in a place full of drywall and steel, Ava." She smiled. "That's because I'm here to make sure it becomes more than just walls and steel." We both laughed. If someone had told me that moment would mark the beginning of my ruin, I'd have laughed too. For the next 6 months, the three of us became inseparable. Long workdays, shared coffee breaks, business dinners that stretched into late-night conversations about dreams and family. Marcus was married with 2 kids. I was still single. Naturally, Ava and I grew closer. She understood me, or at least made me believe she did. And when the long days turned into long nights, she didn't leave when the blueprints were done. She stayed. I fell in love with her, hard. 3 years later, we were married. She said all the right things, did all the right gestures. I thought I'd finally found peace. A home that wasn't made of bricks. But peace doesn't last when there's greed in the walls. It started subtly. Marcus began pushing for more control in the company, said we needed to modernize management, delegate responsibilities. He suggested Ava join as the new financial consultant, since, as he put it, no one knows Daniel's vision better than her. I didn't see it then. The meetings I wasn't invited to, the business trips they suddenly had to attend together, the late-night calls she dismissed as work emergencies. By the time I noticed, the noose had already been tied. It happened on a Thursday. I was in the middle of preparing a proposal for a massive housing estate contract when I got an email from our bank. Urgent, account frozen, pending legal investigation. My heart stopped. Within hours, my phone buzzed nonstop. Clients calling, employees panicking. I called Marcus. No answer. I called Ava. Straight to voicemail. When I finally drove to the office, everything was gone. Desks cleared. Files missing. And on my desk, lay a single white envelope. It was signed by Marcus Creed and Ava Hayes. Inside, effective immediately, Daniel Hayes is removed from all company operations, pending investigation for financial misappropriation. I remember laughing. It was one of those cold, broken laughs that sound like someone else's voice. They had framed me perfectly. Fake transactions, falsified invoices, signatures that looked exactly like mine. They'd been planning it for months, maybe years, and I had handed them every piece of ammunition by trusting them. The fallout was brutal. I lost my position, my credibility, my reputation. Reporters ran stories like wildfire. Local businessman under fraud investigation. Hayes and Creed scandal, millions missing. My mother wouldn't answer calls. My brother told me not to show up at church for a while, until things blow over. Ava moved out within a week. No goodbye. Just silence and a lawyer's letter demanding division of assets. Marcus, of course, painted himself as the victim, who had no idea what Daniel was doing behind the books. The board bought it. The world bought it. Hell, even part of me almost did. I sold my car, moved into a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town, and started drinking more than I should have. But you can only drown for so long before you start to breathe water. One night, about 3 months after the fallout, I got a text from a blocked number. You should have seen their faces tonight. They toasted to your stupidity. To Daniel, Marcus said, the man who built our empire and handed it over. There was a photo attached. Marcus and Ava, dressed like royalty at a new project launch party, holding champagne, smiling. Behind them, a billboard read, Creed Development Group, building tomorrow. No haze. Something in me died that night, but something else woke up. Something sharper, colder, patient. Revenge isn't about rage. Rage burns out fast. Real revenge is slow, methodical. It's about making them believe they've won, until you take everything that matters most. I spent the next year rebuilding in the shadows. People thought I was gone, bankrupt, broken, irrelevant. But I still had one thing left, knowledge. I knew how Marcus operated, his shady side deals, his offshore accounts, his fake construction bids to move money quietly. And Ava, she was the face of their new luxury brand, social media darling, PR interviews, public charity appearances. She'd reinvented herself as the visionary designer and loving wife of the city's leading developer. They looked untouchable, perfect, but perfection hides cracks. I started small. Anonymous tips to journalists about possible irregularities in Creed's upcoming waterfront project. Leaked documents. Nothing major. Just enough to make people suspicious. Then I hacked into the old backup servers I had access to from the Hayes and Creed days. What I found made my blood run cold. They hadn't just framed me for one case of embezzlement. They'd been laundering money through fake suppliers under my name while still using my old credentials. They were still using me. That was the night I stopped planning and started acting. 16 months after losing everything, I walked back into their world like a ghost wearing a new face. I'd taken a contract under a fake name, David Hunt, through a third-party design consultancy to work on a new project Creed Development Group had acquired. The Meridian Towers, a 200-unit luxury apartment block downtown. It was poetic, really. I was back on one of their sites, wearing a hard hat, standing among workers who had no idea that the man they thought was a humble structural consultant used to own half the empire he now served. The first time I saw Marcus again, he didn't recognize me. I'd grown a beard, changed my build, and had a small scar over my left eyebrow from an accident during the months I worked off-grid. He shook my hand and said, "Glad to have you on board, Hunt. Heard good things." And truly, if only he knew, and truly. Ava showed up 2 days later for an on-site inspection. She looked even more polished, cold elegance in a black suit. Her hair in that same neat bun she wore when we were together. She didn't see me at first. But when she did, she froze, only for a second, before smiling politely. "Have we met?" I shook my head. "Don't think so, ma'am." But her eyes lingered too long. Something in her knew. Working inside their company again felt surreal, like watching your own funeral and knowing exactly who gave the eulogy. Marcus had become arrogant, sloppy, the kind of rich man who forgot how easily he once fell. He screamed at contractors, delayed wages, cut corners to save money. Ava played her role perfectly, the doting wife in public, the sharp strategist behind the scenes. But behind closed doors, I started hearing things. Arguments, whispered phone calls, Marcus yelling, "You think I don't know what you're doing behind my back?" Ava responding, "You needed me then, you don't now, right? Careful, Marcus. You'll need me again." The empire was cracking, and I was there to widen those cracks. Every week, I quietly leaked small pieces of internal data, a misfiled permit here, an unpaid supplier there, just enough to create tension and panic. Then, one night, I uploaded a confidential document to an anonymous business blog, a list of shell companies tied to Creed Development Group's offshore accounts. The next morning, the city's business news exploded. Headlines read, "Creed Development Group, under scrutiny for fraudulent shell firms. The company's shares plummeted. Investors froze funding." Marcus called an emergency meeting. I sat quietly in the corner, the invisible ghost in the room, as he ranted about leaks and betrayal. Ava tried to calm him, saying they could spin it as an accounting error, but her voice trembled slightly, and I knew she was scared. Good. A few days later, I got a text. No name, just, "I know it's you, Daniel. Meet me, tonight, the old cafe by the pier." I stared at the message for a long time before replying. "See you there." When I arrived, Ava was waiting. Same cafe, where we used to have late-night talks about dreams and designs. She looked older now, not by age, but by guilt. She spoke first. "I knew it was you the moment I saw you at the site." "Then why didn't you say anything?" "Because part of me thought, maybe you'd come to kill us." I said nothing, just watched her fidget with her cup. She sighed. "Marcus is panicking. He thinks someone inside is trying to destroy him. If he finds out it's you," I interrupted, calm. "He won't. Daniel, listen to me. He's dangerous now. He's been drinking, screaming, breaking things. You think you're in control, but you're not." I leaned back, studying her. "You helped him destroy me. You stood beside him when he buried me alive. Why should I care if he's losing sleep?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Because I didn't know he'd take it that far. I just wanted out. He said we'd both win. But he's been controlling me ever since." Her voice cracked. "I'm scared of him, Daniel." I wanted to believe her, but belief had cost me too much already. I stood up, placed a small flash drive on the table. "Give him this," I said. "What is it?" "Proof that I'm not the ghost he thinks I am." Then I walked away. That night, I watched from a distance as Ava handed Marcus the flash drive inside their glass-walled office. He plugged it into his laptop. I saw his face change. Shock, then anger, then fear. Because on that drive wasn't just proof of my innocence. It was a digital map of every illegal deal, every hidden account, every falsified signature, including hers. Ava's eyes widened as he shouted, slamming his fist on the desk. They turned on each other, arguing violently. The cameras I'd secretly planted in the site's security network captured it all. The betrayal, the threats, the physical fight that ended with Marcus storming out, shouting, "You'll go down with me, Ava. Don't forget that." And I knew the fire had begun. Revenge is strange. It doesn't rush. It waits. It watches you destroy yourself first, and then it finishes the job. That's what I learned the hard way. 6 months after Marcus and Ava betrayed me, my best friend, and the woman I loved, I was supposed to be finished. They stole everything. My company, my name, my future. And for a while, I let them believe I was gone. But I wasn't. I disappeared, quietly, carefully, and I waited. When I came back, Creed Development Group was already bleeding. Someone, me, had been feeding the press everything they needed to rip Marcus apart. Fraud, tax evasion, fake land deals. Watching his empire crumble from the shadows felt right, but not enough. Then one night, there was a knock on my door. Ava, soaked from the rain, trembling. She said Marcus knew I was alive, that he was coming for me. I let her in, not because I trusted her. I just wanted to see how far she'd fallen. She confessed everything. How Marcus planned the betrayal. How she helped. How she thought I'd be fine. Said she loved him back then, but it was all a lie. I didn't forgive her. I just listened. Then she mentioned the transfer. Marcus was moving the company's last bit of money offshore the next morning. She knew the time, the place, everything. I smiled. Perfect. That night, while she slept on my couch, I used her laptop to tap into Marcus's private system. By dawn, I had everything. The accounts, the emails, the evidence. Enough to bury him alive. Before she left, I told her, "Go home, act normal. When he makes the transfer, I'll handle the rest." She looked at me like I was a stranger. "Who are you, Daniel?" I told her, "Exactly who you made me." The next morning, I watched the whole thing play out on a live feed. Marcus in his glass office, Ava across from him, pretending to be calm. He started the transfer, and for a moment I thought, this is it. But then Ava did something I didn't plan. She slipped a recorder onto his desk. He saw it, grabbed her wrist, shouted. I almost ran inside. Then she screamed, "Yes, Marcus, I told him everything. He deserves to know what you did." Marcus laughed, bitter and broken. "You think he's using me? He's using you." Then he stormed out, left her crying. And for the first time, I realized. She wasn't betraying me again. She was trying to end it. She was trying to make it right. That night, Marcus disappeared. The police searched, the media swarmed. But I knew where he'd go, the lake house. The place where we'd toasted our first million. He was there when I arrived. Drunk, broken. There was a pistol on the counter. "You win, Daniel," he said. "You happy now?" "Not yet," I told him. He smirked. "You think you're better than me? You built this life. I just played your game better. I didn't destroy the only person who ever trusted me." "You mean Ava? She told me she stayed with you out of guilt." That's when I snapped. Before I could say anything else, I heard a gasp. "Ava. She followed me." Marcus saw her and raised the gun. "You shouldn't have come here." "It's over, Marcus," she said, voice shaking. He pointed the gun at her. I lunged. The shot tore through the air. When the smoke cleared, Marcus was on the floor. Still breathing. Barely. Ava whispered, "I didn't mean to." Marcus looked up at me, blood in his mouth. "You finally got your revenge," he said. Then he died. By the time the sirens arrived, I was gone. Ava told the police it was self-defense. They believed her. Nobody mentioned me. A week later, she got a flash drive. My message. "Ava, if you're watching this, it means it's over. Marcus is gone. The company's gone. You wanted justice. Well, this is what it looks like." Maybe people don't change. Maybe we just learn to live with what we've done. Goodbye, Ava. After that, I moved to the coast. Different name. Quiet life. Fixing boats. You'd think revenge would feel like victory. It doesn't. It's just silence. Heavy, empty silence. One morning, I got a letter. No return address. We don't get to choose how the story ends, but maybe we can write the next one better. I didn't reply, just folded it and kept it. Then a detective showed up at the dock. Rowan said Marcus's case was closed. Ava gave a statement and that she disappeared. New name. Somewhere far away. I just nodded. After he left, I stood by the sea for a long time. For the first time, I wasn't angry, just tired. I started drawing again. Boats, faces, the tide. An old fisherman, Harold, noticed. You draw like someone who's lost something, he said. Maybe I just draw what I can't say. He smiled. The tide always takes what's too heavy for the shore. That stayed with me. One morning, I walked to the beach and tore up Ava's letter. Let the wind take it. Goodbye, Ava, I said. And for the first time, I meant it. I started building again. Small wooden homes for the people in town. Nothing fancy, just steady work. Then one rainy evening, I found another package on my doorstep. Inside, a silver compass, engraved. A. I smiled, left it on a rock by the shore, and let the tide take it. Some things aren't meant to be carried forever. Now, I'm building a small cottage on the hill, just for me. No blueprints, no company, just peace. Harold joined me one evening, said, "You never told me your real name." I looked out at the waves. Does it matter? He laughed. Not if you're staying. And I think I am. Because this, the quiet, the rebuilding, the forgiveness I never thought I'd feel. This is what rebirth really looks like. Not starting over, just learning to live with the ashes.